Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Getting back to work on the old truck bed. Now, some guys might be thinking, well, why are you spending so much time working on that old bed? It's a piece of junk. Big reason is a new bed, even a B quality bed from southern United States. Here in Canada, because we have people go down, grab parts, bring them back, sell them, and a B class bed, which would be, obviously a good condition bed, but need a lot of work, is $1,500–$1,600. And like I say, you still got to body work it, you still got to paint it, and then you get better quality, like an A class bed, which needs like no work. It's 100% rust free. Talking $2,000. Still got to body work it, still got to paint it. So by me putting the effort into this old bed, it's going to save me a few dollars for now. Okay, if you really look at it in the big picture, if I get another bed, I can probably, do a paint job on it for $150. Okay, a basic paint job, but it's to raise the money for that top quality bed. So let's get back to work on the bed that I have. Now, I left off last video. I just about completed this fender well. It's done now. It's patched, skim coated with fiberglass, skim coated with some body filler, just a rough sand, hit it with some trim clad. These rails patched and trim cladded. These holes in the bed, fix those when it returns to the top side and gets put back on its little trailer. And yeah, I should run down the yard and show you the little trailer. Now, this is a little trailer. It's nothing fancy. It's just a frame, axle, and some upright pieces. And then the bed actually sits upright on these two 2x4s. And this allows me to move it around the yard as I need to, as I work on it. So pretty handy little thing I built just for moving a truck bed around. Now back to the topic at hand, which is repairing the four corners of the wheel wells. This one's not too bad. It's mostly just a dent. Probably not going to be part of this video, but literally just put a piece of wood or a block across here and hammer it back into shape. Not really a big deal, that, but some of these pieces like this, like, they're going to need some work. And if you recall in a previous video, I said save material for another day. Here's a piece of box side from the old black box or bed off the project truck before it went to scrap. And what's important is the line that's down. Let me show you down here. This is basically a straight uniform body line all the way through. So there's no reason that I can't chop out some small sections here of this and graft them into that. Now, here's a little something to share with you guys. This is a hole on the other side, okay? And you can see how big this hole is, all right? Well, I want to show you what's on the inside side. There's the same hole from the inside side. And about here, 1.5 to 2 inches away, there's actually good metal. So that's a little bit of a tip for guys who are working on their vehicles, that if you got a rusted hole through in this kind of nature, there's a good chance that literally 2 inches from there, you're going to find decently solid metal that you can put your patch into. Okay, so I took a quick measurement. I'll show you here. I need a piece about 6 by 7, and so on the donor piece, I sanded off an area that looks like it's reasonably decent, and I just marked out a square. And I'll get the cutting wheel and I'll cut that out, and then we'll put it on the corner and see just how it fits up. Patch is cut out and cleaned up a bit. I'm going to clean it up some more, of course, but you put that on there and let's have a look. You can see that's a perfect body line. Okay, so the next issue is the corner detail here is pretty much missing, but fortunately it still exists on that side. So I'm just going to take a piece of metal, put up against the other side, trace it out, trim it out with the grinder, and then bring it back and clamp it to the back side of this one. Right, here is the cutout detail from the other side, which will go here, but it's going to go, I'm going to clamp it onto the inside side. All right, I'll remove the bolt from the brace. I got lucky there, never snapped off. Even if it did, just have to tap it out. And with that bolt gone, you can see how well that fits on there. So I'm gonna try to do this with one hand, but that's basically gonna sit there somewhere. And then this piece is gonna be on the inside side and represent the corner, okay? So the brace, you know, really not doing a lot. It just keeps the box side from flopping around more than anything. There's enough strength here, I think, to get away with cutting it in. So I'm going to trim off this bit right here, clamp that onto the back side. All right, I got the pieces clamped into position about where I want them, as you can see. And I've drawn a line with magic marker around. So now I'm going to take off the main panel and leave the end sliver where it's at with the clamps. And then that'll allow this to recess because I'm out by a thickness of metal. So the whole piece has to recess into the pocket, and then that's where we'll get out the panel clamps and secure this in place with those. Got my panel clamps installed. Got some really large gaps here. The gap really is only supposed to be the width of the clamp, which is the same width as that cutting wheel on that grinder. But depends on how straight a line you follow. I had that black magic marker line. That's what I cut down. Probably got a little carried away. But the gaps are a little big. It's not a big deal. Gonna get a skim coat of resin over it anyway. But you can see, you stand back here. Looks like the panel lines up to me. Everything's pretty straight. I'm gonna get the welder out and get some ticky tacks on this piece tacked in, clamps removed. I got air and a hammer and dolly so that now I can meticulously put tacks on, quench them with the air, or hit them with the hammer and dolly to try to keep the distortion to a minimum. Patch is all welded up, ready to grind down. Yeah, I got a little extra distortion right here. The rest of it's not too bad. So it's tack, tack, tack. Hit it with some air, tack, tack, tack. Now, before I cut out the piece, I put a magic marker line down here so that as I was welding it up, I could take this piece over, put it close to the line, tack it on the inside side. So now I can trim this off, weld this to that, yada, yada, yada. I probably just cover this in fiberglass filler as opposed to put another piece in on top of fresh metal. So make sure it's bonded good here and then just fill this in here. So I'll cut this off, do a little weld seam, grind it up, and then this will just be filler. Now up top, I don't know if you guys can see over there. Let me see if I can zoom in over there. See there, I don't know if you can see it, but there is a second layer, okay? All right, zoom back it. Come on, you can do it. So I'm going to have to cut another piece of metal and then put this little form on it. Not a big deal. I punch a couple holes and plug weld, plug weld, plug weld. And it's just a reinforcement piece for this corner that the brace attaches to. Okay. Catching you up here. I think I already mentioned seams all welded, trimmed off, seam welded, reinforcing plate installed. There's a small hole here that I can drill through to mount the stabilizer arm. Everything is good. We're at the point of grind. Grinding is the same as welding. Take your time, work around the area, not just try to grind that off and grind that off, because it will get too hot and it will warp, or you will grind through it. Take your time. If it gets too hot, quench it with air. So when I come back, the next clip should be all ground out, ready for some fiberglass filler. So the next morning, I got interrupted yesterday. Neighbor from up the street dropped by for some drinks, and that pretty much shot the balance of the afternoon. So we're back on it first thing this morning. Ground off all the rust blisters along here with 36 grit roll lock, and then wire wheeled it. Treated it with some rust spray. Now we're ready to apply some fiberglass filler to this area. Okay, so here we are. The fiberglass filler is all dried up. I'm not real big on this brand. This is Bondo brand short strand. I find that the strand is still too long for doing seam work. The ABC Glass Plus, much better fiberglass filler, a much shorter strand. It's just nicer. I like it. It's a smoother product. But anyway, I got 80 grit 40 cable DA. I'm gonna knock all this down. I'm gonna go over this bit here where this rust protector stuff is put on. Get that cleaned up. Skim coat everything in some body fill. You know, I'm gonna sand down into here because I've gouged this all up. This is all filled in with some filler. I'm gonna try to get it reasonably straight, and then apply a coat of primer, and then leaving this area and moving on to another area. All right, well, I was waiting on this filler to harden up. Took a round out of that. Damn it, guys. That's almost paint ready. Now, before we get too far along, put several layers of filler on here, knocked it down with the DA, and then put another layer on until I got a nice build. Okay, it's never straight. I got 80 grit, 16-inch Durablock, and I just got started here, so low here, and you can see I'm hitting here and hitting here, but there's a significant amount of filler here, so I'm hoping this will end up straight. I did put the hole back in for the brace. I can put the bolt in to keep this from wiggling around, but I'm going to start blocking this down, see where I end up. Now, it literally took like 5 minutes to get to this point. I'm not working on this lower section. I'm working on this ledge you see here, this section all the way along. Okay, and here's the repair. The patch is about here. I've hit the fiberglass filler here. I've still got body fill here. It's hard to say just how straight this was to begin with, but you can see here's my low area right here. So I'm going to mix up some more filler and just put it in this area. And I'm going to do a little trick that some of you may or may not know. I'm going to switch colors. I mix this with blue hardener. I'm going to switch to a red hardener so I can lay it in here. And then when I sand it out, I know I'm just taking the red off and I'm not taking this greeny colored filler off. Okay, and then I'll do this section down here in the same fashion, but I'll do it separate because I got to maintain this body line through the new piece. Okay, there's not a lot of filler on here. It's very, very thin. I'm at metal here, right, and I'm at metal here, so it's not very thick. So skim coat after skim coat, changing colors of the hardener, blocking it down. Now have a sort of finished piece, like a close enough finished piece. It's reasonably straight. You know what? The straight edge doesn't lie. Put that up there. That is awesome. So I scuffed this out with the DA 220 around, just because now it's time to put some primer on. The primer just went and got onto, an area that's not sanded. It's not gonna stick. Eventually, though, this whole box will get sanded down. So let's get some primer on this. Repair area is blown off with compressed air and cloth and wiped down with wax and grease remover. I'm going to give it a couple coats of the Transtar 2-in-1 to help seal out moisture. Okay. All right, so there you have it. Rough in body work done, primer on it. Time to move on to the other corners. So that's it for this one, guys. Hopefully in the next video, this bed will be right side up back on the mobile trailer there, and ready to finish out some of the other areas. So till the next one, as always, guys, stay safe. Peace.